Secara promosi, Dr. Tam, Hassan dan Wapiao. It is very interesting, but I'm for the first time, I think I'm in a forum where the majority are Singaporean, you know.
How do you know?
Member of the oppressed majority, you know. Yeah, I mean, I'm so pleased. I was able to speak to the oppressed people after the liberation of the Malayan people, you know. So I'm now feel so proud that I'm a liberated man. I'm going to tell you the experience to Dr. Tam and all this, you know. I mean, yes, he was trying to tell us how Singapore is so oppressive and Malaysia. I mean, Malaysia, the repression is like Inspector Clouseau, and in Singapore, the repression is like our friend Mission Impossible, you know. So they're very perfect, you know, and Malaysia is unperfect. I mean, that is how I concluded it in a very humorous way, in a very democratic way. Anyway, I haven't been to Singapore for a long donkey's time, you know. The last time was 1974, and then I was not allowed to go to Singapore. I mean, inshallah, I'll go in next time if there is something, if there's a change in Singapore, if Wapiao become the Prime Minister, or Dr. Tam become the Foreign Minister, you know. I mean, that, or I'm the director of the new railway line. Okay. I mean, fellow Singaporean, lend me your ears, open your eyes. No. What took place in Malaysia is actually an experiment of a third world country. There's nothing so special about it. Yes, there are some specific experimentation. There are some specificity that happen only in Malaysia, but there are other generalities in all third world countries. You know, there's no differentiation. You know, whether it's in Singapore, whether it's in Thailand, whether in the Philippines, or in Indonesia. There are some particularity we can have experience in Malaysia, but there are some generality which could cover all the third world country from Latin America. So when actually the result of resistance against United Malay National Organization, I refuse to call that UMNO. You know, it is not UMNO. His name was given by the British United Malay National Organization. Let's call it that way. Some people say it's begin in the Reformasi 1998. Some say it's 1974. Some say, Hassan say 20. No, it began on the evening of 31st August 1957. That is the day when the British left and we started organizing ourselves. Remember, Singapore at that time is part of Malaya. The Malayan Communist Party is conducting guerrilla warfare to liberate Malaya. Are you scared now to hear communists talking? No, I can say that I'm a communist now. It doesn't matter because we are in the liberated new Malaysia. Now, that was the day when all forces was fighting. So it is a continuation of a struggle which was created by PKMN. That was the beginning. It was PKM, Pertubuhan Kebangsaan Melayu Muda, 1947, who shouted, the first person who shouted, Merdeka. Neither Lee Kuan Yew, nor Tunku Rahman, nor Tun Razak. It was those people, our grandfather, earlier on, they were shouting Merdeka. It was co-opted. It was the agenda of PKMN, supported by PKM, Communist Party Malaya, to fight. That was the beginning of what happened on the 9th of May is just part of the struggle. It's the continuation of the struggle to put back right the trail. This is my version. I participated in this version because I think the creation of the British United Malay Organization is gone. That is gone. Now we bring back, yes, maybe Mahathir was defending the elite. Maybe Anwar also defending the elite. Maybe. But what is most important is that there is now a democratic space. This is important. The democratic space here has been created by 9 May is very, very important. So most vital situation now for me is how to protect, bagaimana hendak mempertahankan kemenangan pencapaian ruang demokrasi. How we want to protect the gain and the victory and what we gain through the democratic space after. This is most important. The experience, our experiences is nothing unique. It has been gone in Indonesia. You have seen what happened in the Philippines. Those are all experimentation of pushing the pushing dictatorial states, creating democratic space. It failed in the Philippines, it failed in Indonesia. So this is more important now. We have today is 100 days after the victory of 9 May. But how to protect? Bagaimana nak mempertahankan? How to protect? This is very, very, very important. For me, this is the most important now, how to protect this thing, so that we will not deviate it, move away from the very fundamental that what is the gain. So the reform agenda, in whatever form, the idea of a democratic space, the idea of reform agenda must be democratized and shared by the population. Yes. Can Singapore do a Malaysia? I have no idea. I have completely no idea whether the Singaporean, Dr. Tam said he's not interested in doing a Malaysia. He wants a Singaporean to do a Singaporean. Well, fair enough. But Singaporea, honestly, is part of the Malayan Peninsula. They are part of the historical part. They were once called Temasek and become Singapore. It was created by the... Singapore is a settler state. It's a settler state like Australia, like New Zealand, it's a settler state. That is historical fact. So this is, you cannot run away from this. Sorry. But whether they want to be part of Malaysia or don't want to be part of, that is up to them to decide. But historically, Singapore is a settler state. It's a new development. Yes, it's a small settler state. I mean, I remember, it's a part. I mean, just over there, you know, I just run away there. If sometimes you pee too long, you can pass there to Woodland, you know. You hold your penis so long, you pee, you touch Woodland. I mean, that's how the distance. Yes, the distance. I tried just now, actually. the distance between Johor Bahru and the Woodland. I'm sorry, I mean, I'm not pissing on Singapore. I'm sorry, I'm not. But this is the situation. But that is it. I mean, your water is come from Peninsula. Yes, you cheated us because you managed to cheat United Malay National Organization. Now you can't cheat anymore. United Malay National Organization gone. Now a nationalist Mahathir is coming up. So be careful. Be careful, Singapore. We are not going to sell you the sand. We are not going to sell you water. You mark up, you know. So be aware. Wapiao, be aware. So anyway, so now we come back here. So yes, that what Dr. Tam has said now is true. There's a monopoly of power also in Singapore, also in Malaysia. We are created. You see, Internal Security Act. This is a clear example. Both the Internal Security Act is created both by the British. It's the same act. There's a lot of, because we are part of the same, it's satu umbilical cord lah. We came from the same mother lah, you know, old mother England. We came from old mother England. So there we are. So they say, okay, Malaysia abolished the, right? Singapore still have the Internal Security Act. That's why our friend here unable to go back home. Yes, he is unable to. But anyway, what is the difference between the climate of Singapore and Johor Bahru, you know? The chao kau tiao is better here anyway. So now, this is the repression. Yes, Singapore, yes, but Singapore is a small state. Malaysia, I categorically agree. The amount of control, the ability of the PAP, the ability of the police, the state structure in Singapore to control is brilliant. It's different from in Malaysia. Yes, Malaysia is big. There are other forces, which is very true. But these are forces at work, which is very true also. There are also, for example, the royal family don't mess around in Johor Bahru. This is Bangsa Johor. Mind you, this is Bangsa Johor, ni negeri lain, you know. So we have Sembilan Raja. We have that. So these are all differences compared to Singapore. Singapore have only one Raja, Raja Lee Kuan Yew. No. Sorry, no, Raja Ratnam. I'm sorry. So that's only one. So this is the situation. So all this. So this, but otherwise we share at one historic part, we share a common history. Now we are divided, but now I'm so pleased we share the experience. Can we share the experience? Yes, you can look at this what happened. But let me tell you, the struggle, the struggle that make things changes is the similar cases. You know, our friend YB Hassan had mentioned just now is the split of the elite. This is very, very important. Very, very, the fundamental thing, the rakyat, the orang ramai, don't worry, they have hated United Malay National Organization for a very long time. Yes, they have, they hated that, very long time. But the elite were coming together solidly, and until Mahathir came in, the elite crack up. That is fundamental. So until then, I'm not sure, what is the name of your Prime Minister now? Lee Hsien Loong. Unless he split up with his wife, because both of them control Singapore. So if they split up under them, then there's a future. But until and unless, you see, Mahathir split with Najib, they're all the same party. Anwar bin Ibrahim were also from the party. Azmin bin Ali also was same party. You forget that they're all same mold, you know. They're all same. So the elite crack up here and there, and that gives birth to this 9 May. So this is one of the things. So and if you see, our YB Hassan mentioned Ramos and Enrile. This is an example in the Philippines. If you go back, Wiranto and Suharto, they split up. So all this thing is a characteristic of why the elite crack up. There are so many reasons. But I must also say one thing about control. Yes, you HDB flat, you call it, yeah? Dr. Tam mentioned this HDB flats with your control. We have here, it's a perfect control, isn't it? You stay there. We have also what is called Felda flat. Felda flat is also another one called, you have Felda, 94 seats, but its parliamentary seat is tied up to this Felda. 192 Adon seat is tied up. So this is the similar, you know, but because one is in Peter Clouseau, the other one is Mission Impossible, they control. It's the same way of controlling. They control it through Felda, you control HDB. It's a control. And now the control is another one, they controlling the younger generation, PPPTN. Loan, student loan. It's all also part of the control of the young population. So so these are all these things. It's nothing exceptional. It's just not specially in Singapore or specially in Malaysia. It's globally in the third world country. This is the way the state, this is the way the capitalist, this is the way the state function to control. I mean, the propaganda controlling the mass media is the same. It's the same. I mean, the law, the seditious law, 1948, all the same in Malaysia and Singapore. ISA is Malaysia, Singapore. Press Printing Act, Malaysia, it's all the same. We will say, as a matter of fact, that there are some people, there was one case, you know, a guy trying to escape political repression in Malaysia. He ran away to Singapore. Could you imagine what kind of stupid guy is that? I mean, you understand? Huh? You understand not? I mean, like in hell, you go hell number 1, you go to hell number 2, you know? I'm stupid. Yeah, that was. And it was, then Lee Kuan Yew said, go back. And ISA, you know? So that's the truth, you know? Yes, you can laugh now, you know, but this guy once was there and he tried to run away. He thought it's nearest to God. So this is what happened, you know? So I have really hope. I mean, I read it somewhere, correct me, fellow Singaporean, correct me if I'm wrong. I saw there's a picture, a poster, you know, Harapan Malay Singapura. Is that true? Yes. You see, I thought they are taking a Mickey out of us, you know. Yeah, this is Malaysia, let's make joke about them. No, I saw, yes, they are multiracial. They're there, you know. There's also one Punjabi with a turban, you know, like him. Yes, and in this, so I say, so I thought they were trying to emulate Malaysia. Yes, you might try, but there are other experts. What we should share here is not the particularity, but some of the generality, you know, the repression, the repressive law, the anti-democratic space. These are things that we can share. Well, whether the outcome is not, okay, how the elite are. But in Malaysia, as for example, yeah, Dr. Tam mentioned, 1959, PAP abolished the local council. Yeah, it's wrong. Well, that was very fast, you know. Mission Impossible did it fast. In 1964, Malaysia followed suit. So it's the same thing. So they follow one another. So what happened now, if there is to be any possibility of change in Singapore, I mean, it has to come out from the next generation. These are the generation that is competent, young, very articulate. They have all the possibility of the new technology. I don't know how they communicate now. These are the natives of the internet, the natives of the internet. I'm an immigrant here. I'm an immigrant. I'm an immigrant in the new technology. My telephone is still idiot-proof. No, I just don't want any telephone to be smarter than me. So listen. So now the thing is that is the future we can exchange pengalaman, to exchange our experience in Malaysia. I mean, the experience in Malaysia is almost similar in Indonesia. It's almost similar. It's only some diversion. Okay, in the Philippines, the demonstration started and they pushed and pushed and pushed. Marcos left. In Jakarta, they pushed and they pushed and they pushed. Suharto left. In Kuala Lumpur, we have street protests, so we push and push and push. He stay on because Rosmah is very fat, very difficult to push out. So, but the street protest is there. So do not forget, the street protests play an important role. Yes, so I'm not suggesting I might be considered subversive now. To the Singaporeans should have street protests tomorrow. Oh my God! Tomorrow there's street protests in the supermarket in Oxford Road or Oxford Street. Orchard. So Orchard. Sorry, I'm so sorry. So that's the thing. So the thing is that the street protest is very important. This is part of the global what we call color revolution. You understand? You know about this. I mean, this is nothing strange. And recently you also have. But one is the most vital, important here, but it might not exist in Singapore. This is, think carefully. I might be wrong. I might be considered subversive. I might be considered anti-Melayu, anti-Islam, anti-manusia. That is how the West campaigns against Najib. The West, it was admitted last 2 weeks by the RRI, how they were backing up the opposition, including me, too willing to be backed by them, because I hated Najib and Rosmah. If you recall, since 2013, the Western media consistently, piece by piece, news, berita, news, TV, documentary about Najib. Why? Because Najib is trying to pally-pally with China. It was admitted. So this is the thing. And this is absent. I think it's absent in Singapore. So there is the global politics also plays an important role. It was, I mean, come on. Who broke the story? No, not Sarawak Report, please. Who is Sarawak? New York Times, Baba. New York Times, 4 years ago. What?
Wall Street Journal.
No, Wall Street Journal is petty lah, baca. I was helping them to write this story. So that I work for the CIA. This is what our friend from past said. I work for the CIA. No, the New York Times broke the story 4 years ago. So this consistently. And if you recall, I'm telling you, please remember the editorial. 4 months ago, the editorial of The Economist, before the election, what did The Economist say? Najib's going to steal PRU-14, isn't it? Did we pay The Economist? No. There was a common interest of United Front, the interest of the Harapan, and the interest of the global capitalists to oust Najib. Why? Because Najib is pally-pally with China. And this is, I think, is absent in Singapore. If Singapore want to Harapan Malaysia, so if Lee Hsien Loong is pally-pally with China, trying to play the China game, then so that is this is the situation. I mean, okay, this is the Singaporean. He behave like Singaporean. Give me time limit. Give me time limit. Okay. He disturbed. So anyway, let's put this way up. Let us share the experience. Whatever happened in the very near future, whether the railway line begin to bad or whether the water will there is a common interest between us. I really like the idea that at the very beginning, in the 50s, the 60s, Singapore have that little democratic space where the populace elected who they are. It's the same experience that we have in Malaysia. It was that experience before this. What happened now is the post-May 13, post-1969. Before that, it was the same. Singapore and Malaysia was the same. That they voted, it was on merits, whoever. It was not race, color, agama, and bangsa. But now, so we have to bring back, I'm not sure now, as Dr. Tam says, Singapore now is more China. Am I right, yeah? More China, more Chinese. So in Malaysia, it's gone there. So now we must bring back to what it was before, a very long time now, when I remember everybody was just everybody, the best will the best, the worst be the worst. So this is where, it's not a dream, but I think there's a possibility. And this evening is an example, it's a possibility. We talk in a very rational way, and I am waiting for you to question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hisham.